South Africa is bleeding, not from guns or war, but from something more silent, more dangerous, something that has become part of our daily life which we call betting. And behind every 10 rand slip is a story of pain, of poverty, and of promises that never come true. Take a walk through any township in South Africa and ask yourself, what do you see? Liquor stores, spaza shops, taxi ranks, and brightly colored betting shops. Hollywood Bets, Betway, GE Bets, Lotto booths. Even your phone has them now.
Welcome back. Well, South Africans are increasingly turning to gambling as a way of making ends meet. For many low-income earners, gambling is no longer just a form of entertainment. It's become a desperate means to cope with mounting debt or to cover daily expenses.
Gambling has exploded in South Africa. The industry is worth billions. Yes, billions. In 2023 alone, South Africans spent over 35 billion on gambling.
The survey shows that South Africans have spent a whopping 1.1 trillion rand gambling in 2024, a 40% increase from last year. Managing Director at Olimera, Gary Walker, says this is a desperate attempt to keep up with the rising cost of living.
And most of that came from the poor, the unemployed, the desperate.
First of all, it was for fun. I was like seeing my friends doing it, not knowing. It was for fun at first. But the more I started betting, like I was winning. So that's where I started to enjoy the betting. The biggest I got, I remember it was 13,500. Yeah, it was my first, the biggest. It was 13.5. I said, Musa, I can do this. If I got 13.5, I can win more than this. So I started to bet more than. Yeah, I bet more than 20 rand. I said 100 and 100. Yeah. But since I got that 13.5, I've never had that amount, the same amount.
Gambling companies use the same marketing strategy where they sell dreams to make quick money and get rich quickly. But the truth is, for every winner, there are thousands of losers. And they lose every day. To understand why gambling is so addictive in South Africa, you have to understand poverty. Over 50% of South Africans live below the poverty line. That's more than 30 million people.
Life is very rough. There are more than 40 of us sharing one toilet and a tap. The $300 I earn a month is not enough to support me and my family.
Gambling gives them something poverty never really shows, which is hope. A fantasy of escape. A belief that maybe this time, things will change. Betting apps and shops are designed like casinos. Bright colors, fast results, instant dopamine. Win or lose, you're always emotionally engaged. And that's how they keep you coming back. Some people say, just stop gambling. But it's not that easy. This is addiction. It's legal, but it's deadly. It starts with 5 rand, then 50 rand, then you're borrowing from my friend at the shop just to place one more bet. To truly understand this epidemic, we need to go back to apartheid. For decades, Black South Africans were denied wealth, denied property, denied proper education. They were forced into survival mode, and the legacy didn't end in 1994. They don't build betting shops in Sandton, or Constantia, or Umhlanga. They put them in Tembisa, Gugulethu, Vosloorus, and Mdantsane. Why? Because that's where the pain is. That's where hopelessness lives.
Days, the local soccer premiership has secured a 900 million rand sponsorship for a period of 3 years from Betway. DStv had been the sponsor of the league since 2020 and was set to last until 2025. However, the pay TV giants withdrew from its sponsorship a year before its conclusion, with reports suggesting financial struggles.
Betting is no longer just a side hustle, it's a culture. Companies are sponsoring football clubs. Social media influencers promote them. They even use local slang to feel relatable. But it's all psychological manipulation. Hollywood Bet sponsors the PSL. Betway gives away cash on Facebook. But how many families have they helped out of poverty? 0. Instead, they profit every time you lose. Behind every bet is a story. And some of them never make the headlines. Fathers losing their children's school fees, mothers gambling their entire social grant, young people dropping out of school just to chase odds, families broken, lives destroyed.
That's why they're opening branches and there's a company popping up every day, because they're not in the business of making people rich, and that's what people don't get. They're not in the business of making
Because they
people
make it
rich.
look like you're gonna get some money.
No, that's how they lure people in. They won't. Ask a lot of guys who gamble. Like, they've lost more than they won. And that's just the truth.
Did you ever do sports betting when you were gambling?
Yeah, I did. That's the bulk of the gambling I was doing.
Nah?
Yeah.
How much did you lose or win?
The most I've won was like 200K.
200!
Yeah, which I lost as well again.
So you could have
But-
stopped there.
No. But over a while, I lost lots of cash, lots.
The South African government hasn't placed much strict rules on gambling companies, meaning our government allows this. In fact, it earns tax from gambling. So why would they stop it? There are no rehab centers for gambling addicts, no school programs, nothing. We need education. We need real conversations in our communities. We need influencers to speak out, not promote Betway slips for clout. And most importantly, we need to believe that our future is worth more than a ticket with odds. We were not born to gamble. We were born to build, to create, to lead. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's expose what they don't want you to know. This is Backstage Truth.